Hello guys, what's up? Thank you for joining us. Our apologies for starting a bit later. As you can see, we're 16 minutes later than scheduled. It was because we tried to do it on two social media platforms through two devices, and so we tried out going on a Facebook Live through a laptop, which did not succeed because we didn't find out how to get someone else into the live video through a laptop. I don't even know if that's possible. If some of you know the answer to this, feel free to share it with us. But for now, we'll just do it like this. So just gonna first invite Dylan before we start. There he is. Thank you for your patience, and we're excited to have you here. At least I am. I don't know about Dylan. Hey, brother. So I just sent you an invite. Do you see it? Did you receive it? Okay, let me just try again. Now it's already said send, invitation sent to Dylan. Can you send a request to join maybe? So I can't do it again because the send button is on. Okay. Something is happening. Bring them on camera. Send request. Yes. We made it.
So the laptop is a whole different process.
Yep.
It's literally a whole different game. It's like two different platforms. Like Facebook and Facebook are two different things.
Yeah, it looks totally different. Different functions. Yeah.
Weird that they would do it like that. But anyway, that's fine. At least we made it on. Excuse my appearance. I am happy with it. Nice.
I am going to put my earphones on. I think the sound is a bit better. Can you hear me clearly, by the way?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes. And now? Still clear? Still good?
Beautiful.
Nice.
Perfect.
All right, man. I'm excited about this.
Totally. Yeah.
Feels so good. Feels already the most liberating and open and light Facebook Live that I have done anyway.
Nice. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the topic itself is just, it invites a lot of what I feel is truest for me, of like how I like to live life and how I like to embrace it, and I feel that similarity within you as well.
Yes.
But like we said, like we like to play the same notes, but the song is just different. But we like to have the same core. So
yeah, it feels so effortless. It feels most free from any kind of self-images or now I have to be a certain way. It's just like, in a way, it feels the most authentic, I guess. And what was actually nice, I was just tuning into this before our call and actually realized that you're probably one of the main or first catalyzers or source of inspiration to plant that seed of like, all right, so this is possible as well, of really being this what's the word, being pretty embodied, being pretty good example of someone who is being their inner child. Like I remember the first time we met, you had this, you're goofy, you have this humor, and there was this overall just lightheartedness in your expression.
Nice.
So yeah, you were a great yeah, mentor, I guess, for that. Thank you.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. No, I get it. It's something that I didn't always embody, and yeah, found my own mentors who also inspired me to do the same. Usually people that didn't know they were my mentors. They were just people that I very much like inspired, like, and I was like, oh, cool, this is cool. This is kind of how I want to live. This is what feels true. But obviously going through life, there's a lot of blockages we put on ourselves. So, but yeah, nice. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I think our time together was very liberating and also very healing in a lot of ways. Like us meeting was a good catalyst to embrace more. So yeah, it was magic.
Yeah, just tuning in where to kind of like where to start, and something that comes to mind. I mean, I know that both of us were already on this journey of self-realization and understanding our true essence and meditation and spirituality. And like, what was in that process that kicked off this exploration of being this playful, childlike self? Where was that shift for you?
Nice. That is a great question, and I will answer it. I just quickly want to switch onto Wi-Fi, so I'm hoping this doesn't shut down completely in the process. Oh man, I don't know how it works. Just because you're a little bit shaky, so I want this to be clean if we're gonna do it. Okay.
Yeah.
Am I still here?
Yeah, you're still here.
Yes. Amazing. Oh, that's great. Because it went off and then it like looked like it disconnected. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, you just froze for a little bit, but you didn't cut off. You didn't. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Wait, I have two of me now. Oh man, hold on. Sorry, hold on. Because I'm hearing two. I've got this in the back. Okay, actually.
Okay, you just cut off for a moment. Now you're back.
Oh, okay, good. Perfect. Sorry, I was hearing like double, so it was like a bit awkward. Which is cool. Apologies. So back to your question. What kind of started everything off for me? It was as soon as I started realizing that I wasn't being myself. It was when I started realizing that for some reason I'm not being as open, and I don't feel as free around people, and I don't feel like I can express myself or be honest or true or authentic. And I felt like I had to adapt and adjust. And that became, I think it was happening more and more over the years, and I didn't quite recognize it for what it was. But once I started really feeling like how much weight and how heavy and depressed I got from not being myself, it became like I either got to do something or I'm fucked. And yeah, I mean, at least going through my journey, what I've realized is that that's all I've kind of ever wanted, is just to be me as I've always been, just as a child, like just effortless, random, and a bit weird and silly. It's just this kind of alive spontaneity. You know? And that's something that my inner child always, yeah, I don't know, that was just always that sense of inner child for me. So it had been like, as a kid trying to grow up and then realizing, oh no, actually I want to be a kid again, because growing up is a weird concept.
Yeah.
So yeah.
A little bit like Peter Pan, huh?
Exactly. I actually love that you bring Peter Pan up as something to reference. One of my favorite movies as a kid, at least Hook, with Robin Williams.
Robin Williams. Yep.
Oh my God. Yeah, I watched it every day when I came home from school, so I felt that was funny. But yeah, but nice. And how have you? Yeah, where do you find yourself currently in this journey of like discovering that, embracing the inner child? I know you've been through a lot of process lately.
Yeah, there was some really, really potent processes catalyzed and being activated. I mean, it's always been happening, but yeah, in the past weeks, month, two especially, some perhaps quantum leaps, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Where I am with this right now, good question. Feel like I'm in the midst of realizing how direct and how easy and how natural it is to be that open, radiant, available, accepting, childlike, quote unquote, childlike self. Yeah, for me, it's been different. I was actually not looking for to become more child. For me, it wasn't a process of, okay, well, how do I become more like my childlike self? In fact, like that was not my conscious intention. I was just, as probably you know, and I think most people who may be watching, my journey has been all about meditation and spirituality, enlightenment and non-duality, and like the desire was freedom, but the desire was freedom and truth. I wanted to know the truth and explore as many paths, or the paths that seem most efficient or most powerful in resonance with me, to explore that. But at some moment, and I really cannot say what it was, I guess it's just the maturity, and just through trial and error, and just through maturity and integrating throughout time, some realization came to me that throughout that, on a subconscious level, there was also resistance to my humanness, to the world, to the illusion, you could say, and all that stuff. And then at some point it really dropped in, that acceptance dropped in for me, as I am right now, for this moment to be as it is, without having to apply some kind of transcended type of awareness, a way of seeing. And it's really subtle. It's kind of hard to explain. I guess it's still kind of recalibrating within my system what it exactly is. But in essence, it's really the acceptance of my humanness. And when that really started to drop in, I just naturally became more, just more here, somehow more present also in my body, in my radiant self, because there was this less separation between, oh, here's me as a person, or as this body, and as opposed to the higher self, if that makes sense. And so it just kind of happened in a way. And then I looked at, well, how can I talk about this energy, this expression, this way of being, I guess. And then it was just evident, yeah, but this feels very like my child. It was really about going back to that innocence, to that purity, beyond even concepts of spirituality and whatever that means, although they can help.
Right.
But I could see that where all that was leading to eventually, and it's still, of course, deepening. It's not like, well, this is the end now. But
it's not? No.
Well, it is in a way, and well, it is and it's not.
Nice.
It is the end of certain journey, of certain explorations, but it's at the same time a new beginning as well, of a new way of being, and the further distilling and processing that. And I already feel that this is a balancing. It is a rebalancing of certain imbalance before, and I can foresee that most likely this will lead onto something else, and I can only vaguely intuit what it is, but doesn't even feel relevant to really go into that. I feel like right now it's just to enjoy this, just to like milk this out, this way of being, this new freshness and direct availability to just play and just be and just flow with the moment. Not needing anything from myself, not needing to be a certain, to live up to a certain image, self-image, and just really go and flow with the creativity and the expressions that just naturally come forth from that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's just that spontaneous flow of like when you're letting everything go and you're not pre-planning and trying to get a grip on reality, then you can just be present to what is already, and then you kind of just go with the momentum of the moment. And I just remember like growing up and just seeing certain people that were just so good at just flowing with the moment, and they would like hit a joke at the right point, or they would just move in the right direction so effortlessly, seamlessly. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, how do I do that? And then I was like trying to pre-plan this game. I was like, okay, when the perfect moment comes, I'm going to do exactly this. And then the moment would never arrive, or at least it would. And then I realized, no, I had an idea. Like always pre-planning. And then every other moment was like scrapped. It's like I couldn't live life because I was always waiting for the perfect moment to do something that would give me a sense of freedom. And it's like just waiting for that moment of freedom, and then realizing, oh, it's already the case. But then the question comes in of like, okay, so why don't I experience it, right? And spirituality really helped me a lot as well in so many ways, and it's still like a very integral part of my life. But there are these teachings of like, okay, so you're free already as it is now. Okay, cool. So what is this experience that I'm having that doesn't feel like freedom? And that's where it starts to bring up all the things that were put in the way of my freedom. Like, what are those blockages? Right? Like, because I really feel like just as a kid, you look at any kid, like the younger, the more free and innocent and just explosive, you know, and full range, full spectrum of emotions, the full light, all the colors within the white light are revealed. But then all of a sudden you start expressing more blue, for example, and then someone's like, no, don't do blue, because they have been taught that blue is not good. So now every time they see blue, it's like, don't reveal that emotion or that feeling. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, I can be everything except this one thing. And that just restricted me. But I didn't notice that. I thought that was just how I was supposed to do things. And then that's where my inner child got blocked. So I have this feeling of like the inner child is more just like unbounded potential. Cool. Like, who knows what he's gonna do next, like kind of thing. It's always fun, a bit scary, a bit nerving, but also very exciting. Energizing.
Nice. This reminds me also of some pointers, or kind of like an investigation way to this already a practice that everyone can apply is like to go with a question, what is it about this experience, about this thing that seemed to block in me? How is this thing hindering me from my freedom? Like, how is it actually in the way of my freedom? And really go and investigate. This helped me to start loosen up some perspectives that we just assume so easily and we barely question. That when they actually seen, it's usually really obvious how absurd they are, that they really don't make sense.
But the feeling can be so intense that it's like it kind of makes it hard to go into, to be able to see the stories that we have. So it's like yeah, I mean, but the feelings that we feel, it's like usually it's like, oh, but I'm not allowed to feel that, and usually it's very uncomfortable, and you just don't want to face that. And it's like, no, be happy all the time, be happy. It's like, well, no, we have a lot of shit. Go, what is it? Like, you don't have to go in and be like, what's going on? Just pay attention. Just hold space for it. Just notice it. Like, what is this thing that's happening? And what is it saying? What is it screaming? What is it made of? And yeah.
And this is I love this because this is such a paradox in how extremely easy it is in a way. Like when you just talk about it, just be with it, just hold space for it. It's like, what can be more easy than that? At the same time, experientially, it's not for most people, especially the Western minds. Just had recently calls with some people as well, and it just became so evident that it is so automatic, it's so deeply ingrained that when certain sensations come up, feelings, more intense energies, or maybe not even as intense, but there is this automatic approach to rationalize it, to be wise about it, to apply wisdom and intellect onto it, thinking that that's the way to deal with it. But that's really, really, I feel like from having so many experience, I feel really confident in saying that this is really highly ineffective way to deal with sensations and emotions. In fact, mostly it's just in the way. It's in the way. It's blocking the flow of energy moving, and it's actually worsening it, because we, by then trying to rationalize and make sense of it with our mind, or make it even more intense and more, making it appear more complex and more big than it actually is. And before we know, we're burned out and we just want to watch Netflix.
Totally. Yeah, I mean,
and
it's
have
a total
some
different
beers.
system. Yeah, for sure. But it is a total different system. Like, the brain is interpreting information, and so is the heart, and so is the gut. But the thing is, like, we try to interpret emotions, which is happening within the body through the brain, like you said. But the brain interprets information in the form of like thinking and words and images. But the heart is what interprets the emotional information. And to be able to get more into your heart and into your body, to allow that information to be interpreted by the body, by the heart, rather than create more stories, like you said, and bundle up the whole mess. It's just the brain can't interpret emotions in their entirety. So that's what the role of the heart has to do.
Nice. Yes. I love this. It's I'm just tuning into to see, from what you're sharing, it seems like there is this connection with with getting into the heart space, with opening up the heart chakra.
Which becomes effortless in a sense, because then nothing needs to be figured out or understood necessarily. Like, knowing is already the case. Like, we already know on some level what is going on, but because we're so kind of restricted in our thinking, it keeps us on the forefront, a smaller level. Like, we're not seeing the whole spectrum. So to go into the heart and just allow space, it's just like allowing space for everything to move, like you said, moving the energy through, which then it just does it itself. It's like a plant growing or a river flowing. And that's something that I really love about where I've just found myself, which I feel like is a big part of embracing the inner child. It's just like that video today of that kid that I sent you, who's just like lying in the bath, and the mother's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I don't know." Like, life can just move that way. We don't need to like categorize and box it. Like, it's already understood. The intelligence is already there. And we can naturally figure it out. So it's kind of making these processes more and more effortless.
I feel like, to stay a little bit on this topic, I feel like this is really like potent, where most people probably find themselves at this kind of threshold between like, I'm the mind, I kind of getting that it sucks to be so much in my head in the mind, and like how to drop in to whatever, this playfulness, this just being, and we mentioned the heart space. Do you feel that it's a prerequisite requirement in a way to first like drop into the heart? Maybe, and I don't even know if there's a difference, so I'm just exploring it as I'm speaking this to you.
Is it a requirement for what?
Yeah, for it to be able to allow the inner child, yeah.
Nice. It's been a while since I've seen this boy. Nice, man. Good to see you. Good to have you here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think a child is all heart, no?
Mm-hmm.
What up? Like, just, so yeah, I think for sure. I think that's where it all resides. Like, at least for me, when I sense the inner child, it is just that pure, spontaneous, unbounded potential, creativity, and that it just pours out of the heart. The mind's there to really interpret and kind of categorize and I love you so much, man.
He loves that. That's so nice. Yeah. We love you too, man. So nice to feel your presence.
So yeah, I think it's where we start and where we move out of and where we're trying to get back to. At least that's as far as I've discovered. Like, I've definitely seen the difference of being here and living from here, and this one should lead 100%. Yeah. If this is leading, if this is the master, yeah, it's tough, bro.
Yeah,
it's real tough.
Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah, I resonate with that. For me, it feels like it's the same energy, the energy of just pure being, pure radiance, with feeling like a child, feeling like that, just knowing myself as a purity or innocence, and seeing that everything is possible.
Nice.
Yeah.
Totally. And I feel like it's from the full embrace of this. Now, this is where I'm actually curious as well for you, is like the embracing of this to allow us into true, authentic maturity. And in this case, like, to move from child to manhood. Right? Because like there's not a lot of examples of that as far as I've seen, because I think due to the not full embracing of the inner child. So I'm curious, have you thought much about that?
Not in this way. This is interesting. So like how to, do you mean in the sense of how to balance and how they can coexist, like the responsible, nurturing men with Maybe. The boy?
Yeah. And does one need to be transcended out of, or is the inner child always there with us, or is it just something that we embrace for this moment? I mean, this is all kind of skeptical, I guess, at this moment, but not skeptical.
Hypothetical? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, essentially, because like I feel like I'm still healing a lot of the inner child stuff, but I do feel like when I do that more, it's like things kind of start to move quicker, and then there's a maturing of the inner child.
I love that you're bringing this approach, and I haven't really looked at it in this particular way, and there's definitely some more sitting with it to get a fuller spectrum of this insight. But something that I can definitely see is that for a lot of men, it is really a challenge to be with their emotions. It's just one of the examples that I really see in a lot of men. There's so much resistance and so much fear around allowing their emotions or allowing their feelings. For multiple reasons. This is like a huge topic in of itself, which I don't want to go into fully right now. But just to point out that, embracing the inner child has really helped me. And there's still some work to do, but it's really got me to there's more freedom. I feel more liberation to just be with my emotions, and that makes me overall feel more balanced and more at ease within myself.
Nice.
Which also, yeah, just brings more stability and ultimately more power and more clarity. So,
Nice.
so I see direct connection there. I see direct connection. I mean, eventually it's all.
Sorry about sorry.
No, all good, all good. Yeah. So so I'm seeing the direct connection there. I'm seeing that the inner child is a great permission slip, a great concept to work with, to loosen up those self images, and feel more free within yourself and not be bound by these ideas that if you experience something, it means something about your worthiness or about your manhood or about where you're at in life and all this stuff, to just clear that out so that so that energies can just flow, and eventually you're just you're not either a child or a man, like both are concepts, right? So we're just working with certain concepts to bring more balance, more stability, more openness, more depth as well, clarity, so that we can just navigate as powerfully and as freely and as aligned in life. That's how I would look at it from this point.
Nice. Beautiful. I think it's really well said. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, it's just, like refreshing, I think, is something that I really get from what you said. Like just starting with a blank slate. Like we
Nice.
start as a kid and we create all these ideas and we have all these building blocks, and then we create this world. And now it's like we've been living with the same world for a while, and we feel like we have to maintain this world because, we built a tower over here and someone was like, that's great, you should keep doing that. We're like, oh, really? Okay. And now we have to maintain this world that we're kind of tired of. We want freshness and more excitement, and that means letting go of the old and being willing to drop all that and come back to, well, what's next? Like, I'm a whole different person now. I've spent however long I've been on this planet, and I've completely changed from how I used to be as a child, Like, what are the things that I'm still holding on to, the stories that I feel I need to hold on to, and how can I let them go so that I can create a whole new story, a whole new thing for me to work through, which I'll eventually shed again. Like, it really feels like we have, at least for me, like I felt like I had shed a skin a long time ago, but I wasn't really willing to take it off.
Nice.
Like
Interesting.
like as a snake, I completely shed the skin, and I was just wearing it as a hat because I'm like, see, it's still me. Am I still liked? Am I still appreciated as I am?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So it feels like important to put emphasis on this, and just, I think, create spaces that allow people to kind of explore this more. Because I feel like in the general world, to just suddenly go like to work and be like, okay, any child's coming out, then nah, numbers, bro, what are you doing? Which is all fun and dandy, but
we kind of touched up on this, but I also feel it's nice to hear more specifically what has actually changed in your life, in your everyday experience, since you've been activating yourself in this way, since you've been allowing the inner child. And I mean, I know for one thing, you've also have this social freedom program going. It's one of the expressions. So maybe something around that, or what, like, just anything that comes to your awareness.
The biggest thing that this whole experience of kind of embracing myself as I am, which is really the inner child, because it's still wants to come out and play. The biggest thing that's come from that is relieving myself from stress, anxiety, and depression. To keep it like real with you guys, like I had so much flipping anxiety, so much that I just couldn't function. I couldn't live. And just being honest and brave enough to just be true to like how I actually am and how I'm feeling, especially in my relationships with people, it's just freed me up so much, and it's inspired me to create spaces where people can actually just feel like, can I just loosen up? Can I just loosen up? Like I just want an environment where I can just feel like I can't do anything wrong. And I can just see like what happens when I just try some things out. Like I always felt like in day to day, I couldn't just try things out. Like I had to kind of follow the rules a little bit. So this is what inspired what the programs that I do, Social Freedom. Where I literally bring people in and we act the fool and loosen up our social structures and restrictions that we have. Just loosen them up, create a bit of space and distance between us and them, see what we truly are, and then from there we can dismantle all the things that don't serve us anymore, and then maybe put something new in its space. And
cool.
And then just creating more and more empowering things that I keep finding that I keep building something and then I tear it down because there's another way to do it, and learning from other people because there's more openness, so everyone feels like willing to share and explore. So it's a fun, I think it's a great service. Like inner child is just like getting just truer to like who we are at the end of the day, I feel. So.
Yeah, I can really feel from the energy that you're speaking like this kid in a big sandbox who is just like it's like full of ideas and just trying out different things. And I see the value and the beauty of bringing that into this mature body mind awareness to just like you said, like loosen up those mind structures so that we can feel that essence and that radiance that's already is there. It's just covered up by stuff. And this is one of the reasons that they feel so on fire to bring this to people, to make this more available, is to seeing how easy it is. It's not something to create. And just like yourself, I was looking up the people who for who it is so natural and so easy to be in this free, playful, lighthearted flow. And I always had this sense, I need much more self-work on that, or self-healing, or this and that, and acceptance, or what have you. Like so many perspectives about me not being there yet. And now just seeing that really it's not a matter of getting somewhere or like attaining something so that you become it, but rather a letting go and a loosening up. I love the term loosening up. It's really a loosening up of whatever we believe, assume is here and has reality, and we are, and just sink into that blissful, radiant energy that is already within us.
Nice. I just love to also put emphasis on like this loosening up. Like this effortlessness is so available. Like the website, my kind of company that I'm developing is the Freedom Incentive. And freedom also, same as you, like that's always been like a high value for me, a sense of freedom in my life. And I started like really feeling into and just noticing there's something about that I felt like I wanted to evolve. And I noticed that freedom for me still had a bit of like a striving, like trying to get somewhere. Like, okay, I gotta get free. I gotta get free. And I'm not sure what shifted, but something clicked when I realized like, oh, what I really want is allowance. Everything to be allowed. that feels like a different level of freedom. It's like, oh, everything is possible, and everything is has its space to do whatever it wants. And at least something I just find myself naturally prioritizing is like, how can I just make it easy and effortless and just chill and also fun? Like, I mean, even a challenge can be kind of like effortless and fun, but like it's what like just feels natural and true. Like I'm still like working with beliefs myself around like you know, like, yeah, you have to work hard in order to get anything, and you have to give your whole. Hey, Boba, nice to see you, man. Oh, funny. Yeah, and just like this kind of struggle that's kind of imbued in a lot of what we feel like we have to do in life. And I've always been this kind of like relaxed, easygoing, take it chill attitude, and I'm finding that balance within myself of like, okay, so when does action need to come, and where can I just make it as easy and effortless as possible? Because I just like to take it easy, bro.
Yeah.
And yeah, why not? But then there is also this like, let's put effort into something, but out of fun and joy. Like if you're playing like a game of football with a bunch of guys, it's like, cool, let's make this going. And it's not really an effort to play because it's like, oh, this is fun, like cool.
Yeah. I so love this because like this is exactly where the juice is for me. Like if I would have to say people, you know, like why would I embrace a child? Like it's exactly this point, because a lot of people we're so much struggling with, you know, detachment, like how to not be attached to outcome, how to and it's just so easy to see from that inner child perspective, because when you're already in your in the joy, I found myself just naturally automatically being detached from an outcome, because I could also see the reason why I want a certain outcome is to be free, is to have that feeling of like, all right, cool, I'm safe, I'm well, I'm supported. And well, if I know all is well and I know I'm supported, what will I do then? Well, I would just really wanna play and just express myself just from the most liberated state, like without getting somewhere with it, without this need or a personal desire to get something out of that expression. It's just because it's the most joyful thing to do. And when that is the case, then we're also naturally more bold and more courageous in our creations, in what we want to manifest, in how we want to communicate with, you know, with our meaningful relationships. And so really it's a big statement, but I mean it when I say that life gets better on literally all levels.
Oh,
And
for sure, 100%.
I'm not saying a disclaimer here, like I wouldn't say I've fully mastered this, but it's something that is really actively working and integrating itself out in everyday life. And
totally. Yeah, we've taken on a world, and a lot of what I've taken on from the world is not always super nice to my inner child, and that's stuff I got to work through. And that's there's a great quote. I don't know who said it. I really don't know, but I love it, which is, "Be the person that you needed when you were younger." And there's something that's so like self-sourced and loving and freeing and opening. It's such a beautiful statement.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like that's a big essence of embracing the inner child, to be that person that can hold space for that individual. And sometimes it does take, like, how does that look? Like seeing some examples and having people around you maybe who can do that for you. But to give that to yourself is next level. Because then it's like you got you know, like life is crazy and all sorts of weird things, but it's okay because you're holding yourself.
Yeah.
And self-love is a big part of that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, very much, very much. Yeah. It feels to me that also this self-love, in my experience, it feels like it somehow contains now I'm not sure if this is by default the case, because every journey is individual and like it might also, like, you know, after so many different approaches and practices and integrations, it's really hard to pinpoint, well, it's really this thing that made this effect happen at some point. But where, like right now, when I tune into the inner child, that love, like being love, knowing myself as love, which for me equals self-love, is
Yeah.
feels like it's already in it, like it's already like it's one somehow.
Yeah, totally. And I feel like just awareness and presence, that is love itself.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's why it's the effortlessness of just like, you know, these things, these hurt parts of ourselves, like this younger child that's like hurt.
Mm-hmm.
We just need to be there. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's just like, yeah, just paying attention to something is giving love to it. That's a sign of love. So if we can just pay attention
Right.
and just observe like what's going on inside of us, that is just sharing love with yourself. But I love what you say, for sure, of like we just are love. It's just the
Yeah.
case. We just have ideas that make us feel like think that we're not.
Mm-hmm.
And by unraveling those things, then we don't need to create love. We just radiate what we already are. It's,
Yes.
again, more effortlessness.
Yes. And this is another aspect to what you were inquiring on earlier, on how to bring or how to balance out, I don't know exact words that you mentioned, but how to sort of synchronize the or bridge the mature adult man
Nice.
who is, you know, balanced with that inner child. Because I feel one of the struggles that a lot of us men have is a lack of self-love, and if we don't have that, then, you know,
Nice.
we
I do.
can't give what we don't have, or what we cannot self-source, or at least be confident that we can self-source it from ourselves, from knowing that we are it. And this was a beautiful pointer that it can be accessed through that inner child awareness.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like our inner child like is hurt and needs something, and we can be that thing. So that's where the masculinity kind of comes. Well, in a sense, it's more like a feminine energy, I would say, actually. But still, it's like embodying that maturity of like, I've got myself. So that's super nice. I really, really love it. Nice. Asked and
Something,
answered.
yeah, something else that comes to mind, and this was, you know, after talking with some people um, who also resonate with becoming more like their inner child self, embracing their inner child, but through whatever reason, they have a different association with it. So maybe some people have like associate their inner child with traumatic experience. You know, they don't necessarily have that direct, okay, like when they tune into their inner child, they don't necessarily directly tune into something radiant and playful.
Yeah.
They maybe tune into someone who's really afraid and who feels very traumatized, and things like this. Like what kind of what comes to your awareness as to, yeah, basically what to tell to those people, what kind of first approach they can take into healing slash balancing and allowing more of an inner child that feels safe and that feels radiant.
I feel like it just comes back to the same statement of be the person that you needed when you were younger. because there's more understanding. Like there's these parts of us that we're kind of stuck in, like that, those hurt parts of our inner child that haven't broken out of that and haven't had a chance to mature because they're stuck in the past. They're stuck in those repressed spaces. And therefore, from that space, it's hard to see the truth of what's going on in the environment. But from the perspective of who you are now and the wisdom and the love and everything you've understood from where you are now, to look back from the eyes of that wisdom, you can get a broader view of like, well, what was the situation? Like, I felt unsafe, and maybe, and through uncovering and inquiring about and just holding space and just seeing what's happening there, you can transform something that was maybe once very traumatic into something that becomes very, very empowering and serving for not only yourself but for other people. So yeah, what do you need back then? You know, what did you need? And can you hold yourself? Can you let yourself know that it's going to be okay, like that you're fine, that you've got yourself? Like usually that's all we need, is just someone to hold us. And if we can do that, then so actually a great practice that was given to me, and I didn't expect it to be so powerful, was to quite literally just go into the mirror, look at yourself in the mirror, and for like 5 to 10 minutes, like sincerely just like let yourself know that like, I love you. Like, I'm sorry, forgive me for everything, all the hurt that I've caused you, and I've got you, and I'm proud of you. And man, he is roll so easy with something like that. It's crazy, especially when you're just sincere.
So powerful. Yeah.
And to give yourself what you need. You know what you need.
Yeah. From what you just shared, it feels to me as basically bringing in more conscious awareness to that child. It's like, in a way, bringing in more of a mature way of looking at what's true and what's needed, and then to give that to the child, to that memory, essentially, so that can loosen up, so that it can relax and be at peace.
There's a guy I follow on Instagram. I don't know his name, but he's great. He would be good to get on a call with as well. He's also very embracing his inner child. He does a lot of like shadow work and also. But there's just this one video of like, it's him, and he's like expressing like healing an inner child, and like his inner child's like in a corner, like upset and just like sad and unhappy, like because like they can't come out of their shell. Then his other version is just like dancing, and it's just like, I just want to party with you. And you just see the kid like slowly like warm up, and it's like, oh, someone's paying attention to me, like, oh, someone's giving me space. Like he starts dancing, and he just opens up, and it's like, oh, like the amount of times I needed that just in a moment. Like someone asked me to dance, I was like, no, I was just shy and nervous, and they were like, okay. I was like, oh no, don't leave me. Like I need the encouragement, kind of thing. But the thing is, to rely on other people for that, we get very disappointed because we can't rely on other people to do that for us all the time. People going through their experiences, it's not always available, and if it is, then we can sometimes become dependent. So
exactly right. Like if we truly wish to be self-realized and have true control over who we are, we even if it would be possible, which it's not, like meaning other people giving us the permission to finally loosen up and just know that we're loved and safe, and no matter what. I think we wouldn't want that, like if that's a genuine desire, because it would also imply that we are somehow at the mercy of someone else's choices. And there's nothing wrong with it. I think we all value when someone else is, giving us that permission slip. That's totally fine.
Sure, it's a process.
In fact, it's super beautiful, and I would encourage that, but also to not be dependent on that, to know that we can do it ourselves.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's for sure nice to be in a space where that's kind of invited. But when you feel like you are lacking something without it from someone else, then it's like, oh, well, why do you believe that you don't have it? Like, why do you need something to be a certain way to do it?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that's a game, and I think we all have some form of dependency in some ways. At least I definitely see it on myself, and that's also something that I'm acknowledging and empowering myself more with. Of like I got my back, I got it, and also just in a healthy way. Like have your communities and your people, and share and open up and share love. But just notice where, yeah, you're just taking action out of lack, or whether it's fulfillment. I think it's always easy just to simplify things. Like, is any action out of fear or love? You can ask yourself that in any moment about anything that you're doing. It brings you so much clarity. So keep it simple.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful.
Nice. Cool, man.
Is there anything else you feel we haven't touched upon yet on this topic?
There was something.
Might be relevant.
There was something else. I don't know if we talked about it already, but there was something you messaged me about that you thought was interesting to talk about. Remember the voice message? I can't
Yes,
remember.
that was about the emotions, and we did. If that's what you mean, we did touch upon that, right? Like that it's not just about feeling good. Like people might get the sense that maybe this is about sort of almost kind of an attachment, or like identifying with a certain state of being, like, okay, I'm going to create this state of being, this is now who I am, and it's just about that, and just about feeling good, which is not the case. And we did touch upon it in a way, but maybe it's good to highlight again that just like a child doesn't feel good all the time. In fact, I remember as a child, if I would feel bad, I would feel bad like full on, like I would cry. And I don't remember myself as like a super angry child, but I do remember some deep sadness coming up, and I would just fully go into it and like fully release. And and then there's no stories, there's no like a perspective that it means something about my worthiness or how spiritual we are. And this is what makes it so liberating for a child, at least in most cases. Obviously, not every child has this experience. There are very abusive environments, or environments where a child doesn't feel. So I do feel, at least not throughout my entire life, but there is a really significant amount of time, especially my early childhood, where I actually do remember feeling very safe to go into this emotion. So I'm very grateful for that. But as you said, we can give this safety to ourselves right now. So ultimately it doesn't matter. I mean, it matters in the sense that we'll probably have to take a different approach, or maybe have different practices and maybe more permission slip to get to that point where we can just directly allow that freedom to just be with whatever arises, whatever sensation, feeling, emotion comes up. And it's still not easy for me, man. Like, I do see when emotion comes up, that programming, that something having all kinds of reasons to be very wise about, and to just kind of put things in a logical, wisdom-based perspective, when in that moment that's not what's required. In that moment, the emotion just wants to be there. And that's the challenging part, at least for me. And I'm sure this is the case with a lot of men especially, but probably women as well. So just because we know that the emotion at its root doesn't make sense, it's not logical, we get that there's no logical reason to be really sad or frustrated or angry. Even though that's the case, it doesn't mean it's wrong. It doesn't mean there's anything off or weak or inauthentic about that being there, or unspiritual or unconscious, you know? And this is something that really, really needs to drop in, I feel, if we wish to be more balanced and integrated as our child self, but also just as an overall being, well-functioning entity. Like to really see that difference and to be able to separate those two, right? Okay, so this is wisdom, this is that, but in this moment, this is this unlogical, but it's just part of my psychologically, it's energy flowing and it's totally allowed, it's totally perfect. And to allow that space, to allow ourselves to, just be fucking sad in the moment, if that's what's coming up.
Yeah. Everything is temporary, including the rules that we set for ourselves. Like, it's just relative. Imagine going to a kid that's just like crying about something, and then you're like, well, you're infinite love and part of God, so you should just be happy all the time. It's like, no, it doesn't make sense to them, because they have something that they've understood in a certain way which is upsetting them, and that's fine. They've just interpreted information in a certain way, and that's fine. And to try and bypass that by covering it with like oh yeah, I'm infinite, I'm perfect, right, then it's hiding, then all the seeds are tainted with a denial of my actual true experience in this moment. But if I can actually allow it, then I can see it for what it truly is. And anything that I see that is and doesn't actually make sense naturally fades away. I don't have to do work with that. And everything that does make sense will remain until it no longer makes sense. People don't work without benefit. And for some reason, there's a benefit in me believing something that's not serving me, because I feel like it does serve me. But yeah, like whatever's true for you, it definitely needs to be acknowledged, because it's true for you. That's your truth. It's your truth.
Yes.
Go for it. Like, go all in. I'm upset. Okay, cool. What's the deal? Sometimes we don't even know why we're upset, because we aren't given the space to understand it. Like, feel it, and to understand in terms of feeling, not to like rationalize, like you say, and make it wisdom. And it's like, no, I feel like shit because someone stubbed my toe and now they're an asshole. Like,
and I think this also goes to the topic of trusting, like to trust that if we don't understand in the moment, that's okay. Probably we're not meant to understand it, and to trust that we will understand in the right moment. When the clarity needs to be there, to trust that it will be there. Everything that is here right now is all I need to navigate this here moment in a really amazing way, in a really beautiful, smooth way. And whatever is not here that I'm not seeing, it's not meant to be here.
Yeah.
And if I believe it should be, I believe if there should be something different about this moment, then it's that perspective that trips me up, that's causing, things to slow down, and for less of a playful, freed up flow of life experience. Yeah.
Certainly. Yeah.
And just to kind of round this particular theme up, it's not about becoming something else. It's not about becoming this character of a child. It's really using this concept, this energy, to become more integrated in your overall being, and get to that essence, which in itself, just can't help. I feel like it can't help but play when you're just when you're in that space. It's just a natural expression that comes forward. It's not like, oh well, let me do the playing because I'm kind of supposed to do it and it's going to make me integrate.
Let me do
it's
that
not
playing
like this.
thing that I
Let me do the playing thing, because some guy said that it's gonna work.
Yeah. I'm by the
Yeah,
playground, so therefore I'm sure I'm required to play.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, just wherever feels good. And this is where, at least, yeah, with my work that I do, like a big part of it is just disassembling any notion of good and bad.
Oh, cool.
Like which is essentially, you could put it in so many ways, but yeah, resistance or craving, like whatever, like don't try and get out of this experience, or try and crave something else, or try and keep something here that's moving. Everything's moving and constantly changing. So get rid of the good and bad, and then everything just flows and is allowed. And yeah, because imagine if you live in a world where there's no good and bad, then things just are. Then what is there to resist or crave anymore? Because like whatever.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Beautiful. It just yeah. Just tuning into it as you're speaking, I can immediately feel the sense of freedom and a direct going back to the center, going like sort of return, like sinking in the attention and focusing into the center, into the heart space, and feels empowering.
Yeah. It's a very like
Yeah.
Buddhistic approach, actually.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a equilibrium of like not running away from something and not trying to get something. It's just pure recognition of what is. And if you bring that into your emotions, then that's definitely a beautiful tool to serve.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, well, there's nothing else to do except just to let everything happen. So, which is nervously liberating, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just really wish for people to even have just awareness. Like if we can just even start by having awareness when we are feeling something, and
oh man,
because it's really, there's so many things that like I can see that so many of our coping mechanism, or just, but we don't even see, most people don't even see it as coping mechanisms, probably is just behavior. It's just, you know, who we believe or assume we are. It's playing out in a certain way that just blocks away so much happiness, so much fulfillment and peace, and authentically expressing ourselves. Is this fear of like, oh, what will happen if I feel this thing, this sensation, and this uncomfortable something there, which most of the time, the time we don't even know what it is, because we've just been running away for so long and creating stories about the thing that we really have no idea what that thing is, apart from our assumption. But yeah, that's the,
we talked about that
that's
last
the
time.
work.
We talked about that last time. I remember, it's like the idea that we've created about the thing we're avoiding is way more terrifying than the thing itself.
Yeah.
It's like all these stories, like, no, there's no way I can go into it. But when you actually go into it, it's actually the most relieving, liberating thing, because it's like, I can leave. Like, it can just be like, oh, thank God. Like, even if you're in tears and you're like crying, like, it feels so good, actually. But it's the, but what's the whole story, the whole head process about the emotional
it's like
process.
Something wants to hide it. It feels, it's just like I've been experiencing in the past few days. There was some resistance, there was some emotions coming up and anxiety, and but I couldn't really get to the point of what it was. And it felt like something was running away from it. Like I was trying to shine a light on it, you know, and then, but something was like, it doesn't want to be revealed. It's like hiding from the truth in a way. Totally. But then when it's seen, it's just like, oh God. Was it's just
Thank you. Thank you, finally.
There's this like brief moment where like, no, let's not go there. But when we're actually just pop into there, it's like, okay, good. I'm really happy I'm here now. I'm seeing it.
Totally. So funny. It just can't compute. This can't compute this. So you just got to trust your heart. Trust your heart. That's what you can do, man. Trust your heart.
Beautiful.
Cool. Ready for the
You
reveal?
think you're ready for the reveal? You think
Ready
it's the
for
right
the
moment? Yeah.
Ready for the reveal.
Great. Yeah.
All right.
Drum rolls.
All right, everybody. So me and Harris have decided to team up, put our heads and hearts together to create a donation-based program that we want to host over a weekend. So it'll be 2 sessions.
Like a weekend retreat.
A weekend retreat. Even betterly said. It's a funny way to say that, but yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to be hosting a weekend retreat together, all based on the inner child, and yeah, exploring together what that means for all of us, and going into practical ways of how to move more into that and experience that, and how to support yourself and be the person that you needed when you were younger. And yeah, so yeah, me and Harris are very excited to work together on this and collaborate and share our wisdom with you and invite your wisdom to shine as well through the whole experience, and love and light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it will be online, obviously with a group of, we don't know how many people. Do we have an amount of maximum or minimum for this?
No, not necessarily.
Right.
At least what comes to mind is like 20, but I wouldn't hold too much of a restriction.
I was having also 20 in mind. I was about to say I'm not sure if I would be up for more than 20 because,
Okay, cool.
well,
20 feels good. Yeah.
anyway, yeah,
So we got
20
20
max.
spots, people. So if you
20
want to
spots,
join,
exactly. Hereby decided. And
nice.
it's gonna be really, really fun and experimental as well, I feel, because we don't know who you guys are that we're gonna be in, and it's really kind of dependent on where you are at in terms of your relationship with your inner child, and we will really work with that, what you will bring forward, what you will express or not express. That's what we'll work with, and with the intention to create a safe space where there is nothing that you must do. There is no requirement in that sense. So you're really free to navigate your own process and your own pace and time. It will be an opportunity for us to explore what it's like when we bundle up together, and just
That
kind
includes
of
you as well.
intuitively coach you, guide you, inspire you.
Inspire us.
So we just inspire ourselves to maybe just start. Maybe you're just starting. Maybe you haven't even considered doing that. You're watching this video, or like, maybe there's something in there for me, and I'd like to just dip my toes into those inner child realms and see what it's like. See what it's like to start embracing, start uncovering whatever is there for you, so that you can become more like the inner child self, or you're already full on your journey and you just want to continue expanding and feels like a fun, inspiring, exciting way to just approach this with perhaps a different angle or a different in a different setting.
Totally.
I personally feel like there's an additional power in being together with a group of like-minded people. If there was anything that has accelerated my personal journey, I mean, since the whole, but especially in the past years, it was being together with a group. There's, it's different, and either it's better or worse, but there is like an additional, different kind of power when you are really held and you feel supported by other beings who have that confidence and just trust that you can step into whatever your next version of your next, liberation, playfulness, being your authentic self looks like.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the environments that we create are fully love-based, to trust and to be of support to one another, because we're all going through the same thing. And when you have so many people around you and supporting with you, it's a hall of mirrors, which is such a benefit, because you get to see more angles of yourself. So if you're really exploring, curious to explore more of yourself, and in that sense, and bring more of yourself out into the world and live in a more fulfilled way, a fulfilled, holistic way, then yeah, having a lot of mirrors to really see who you are is a great benefit. Like, why would you not want to know like who you are? Like, that's such an exciting thing. It's like having superpowers but not daring to look at the fact that you have superpowers, because it's like, I'm not gonna worry about it. It's like, what do you mean? Like, there's so much cool stuff about you, so let's learn about you.
And life is precious, life is sacred, and life is right now. And so you know, if not now, then when? But no, like really, like this is the perfect moment, also considering everything we're going through on a global collective scale. Like, this is really the time to level up, to really free up. And you know, me and Dylan, we're not going to be like telling you what to do. We're not going to be the wise masters, wise teachers kind of position. We're just going to be facilitating, hosting the space, and all of us together with the group, but we too will just be facilitating and guiding the process in the way it wants to be guided.
Yes.
So yeah, let us know. It will be on the weekend of 7th and 8th of May, which is 2 weeks from now, I guess, or 1 week, 1 or 2 weeks, 2 weeks, I think.
2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, the Saturday and the Sunday in the evenings for CET time, right?
Yes. It was either 7 CET or 8 CET, which is, I think, about 1 o'clock your time, 1 o'clock your time. But we will give you the details. We will create some more clarity around that, just some posts and information. But yeah, just wanted to reveal it to you here. Again, it is also...
This is the promo. This is the promo. So this now it's out, and
nice.
You can reach out either to Dylan or to me. Send a DM if you're interested, and we'll do the rest.
We will do the rest. We got your back.
Exactly.
We got your back to help you get your own back.
Yeah. Cool.
Amazing.
Right. So, any last words? Any final words before we leave?
No, I feel fulfilled. This was great. I really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you for everyone who joined.
Yeah.
It was really nice to have you all here. Appreciate your presence. And thank you so much, Harris. Thank you for bringing yourself into this. Really nice to have a conversation with you, as always. Super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, I also just want to thank you for being and for bringing the clarity and your wisdom and your experiences. And I'm just very, very excited for what's going to unfold and come up in the weekend retreat, and potentially something else as well, but we'll see about that. And also for people who are watching the replay, I would say, if you have maybe questions, still feel free to ask.
Totally open for questions. Yeah.
Ideally in the comment section, because I really love the idea of sharing, because you sharing your questions is also serving other people's. But if that feels uncomfortable for whatever reason, you can just DM us, which is send a direct message, which is perfectly fine as well.
Nice.
Much love to everyone, and I feel complete.
Perfect. So just quick review for everyone. You're all great. You're all amazing. You all got your own backs. We're doing a weekend retreat. We will do questions, throw some questions in there, and we'll play around with them. We're excited to hear from you. And Harris, so much fun. Always such a pleasure to jam with you. So much always comes from it. So thank you.
Wonderful. Woo! All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Adios.
Goodbye.
Ciao. Bye bye.